Well, good morning. Today I'm down in Southern California in a little bit different location in Orange County from where I'm normally on patrol. So I thought I'd talk a little bit today about some of my personal experiences and give you the benefit of some of the things that I've learned along the way. Early in my career, I had a retail stores, a number of them throughout the Bay Area. And as I did site locations for these stores, I had a specific profile in mind of the type of location that would really work well for me. However, this one point in time, I found the location that I just fell in love with. It was outside of the parameters, and I didn't have any experience in that type of location, but I was convinced, or at least I should say that I convinced myself that this location would be ideal, and that even though I would be paying more rent for this location, that the increased sales would more than offset the higher rent. Well, I went ahead and did the lease on that and signed the lease, which had an early benefit, leasehold improvements, which were really expensive for this location because it was a new building, and I had to, design the location specifically for what I wanted to do. Well, fast forward nearly 3 years, I had signed a 3-year lease. Being a little conservative and not signing a longer lease, and fortunately that was something that worked out to my benefit. But after 2 years, going on 3 years, I quickly figured out that this location just was never going to work. And if I had known better, known more, perhaps gotten some feedback, but I acted impulsively. I didn't do my proper homework and due diligence and really didn't think through the process. I didn't have a formula. I didn't have a kind of a checklist that I would go through. I more or less, on this particular location, I shot from the hip. And what that ended up costing me was a lot of money and lost time, more importantly. When I relate this back to how individuals in the world that I talk with that are business intermediaries, business brokers, M&A specialists, and transaction attorneys, people like that, they share with me kind of the process that they go through and how they help and position people for a business exit and entrepreneurs that are getting ready for an exit. And there is a process, there is a method to the madness. I often think about, we only, entrepreneurs out there only sell their business maybe once or twice during a career. There are very few serial entrepreneurs out there. Most of the people that are listening to the podcast and that I talk to are individuals that, sell their location or their business once. And as I've thought through that, you look at people like Tiger Woods or Tom Brady or these highly accomplished athletes. They have coaches, they have people that they rely on because they don't know everything. They realize they don't know everything, even though they have the physical capabilities and mental toughness. They realize that the finer points that sets them apart from the competition is what they don't know and finding people that know what they don't know. And I think as people, look at their business and, when they are getting to a point where they're thinking about selling, if you haven't been through that process before, you probably need to think about who you're going to surround yourself that knows more than you know, because what you don't know is what really will hurt you. And as I think about this, one of the things that is fairly evident in my podcast is that there are some very skilled people out there, and regardless of who you find, whether it's an M&A specialist or a business broker, whomever, an attorney, that will help you through that process. It's been down that road before. It's probably well worth the time and the effort and whatever it costs you to have someone on your team. In fact, you should probably assemble a team that will help you through that process. And you shouldn't do it, kind of like I did it when I was looking at these retail locations. I kind of waited to the last minute, and there was competition for that location, and I went ahead and, made a decision based on my gut feeling. And sometimes those things work out, but more often than not, they don't work out. And so I guess my thought for today is that as you think about your business and getting to a point where you might want to exit that business, you really might want to think about the opportunities that you have to be able to, think about the positioning of your business for sale. positioning it with advice, and that you actually do create a situation where you know better. And when you know better, you will do better. And this has been borne out time and time again. I can't tell you how many stories on the podcast that we have that people that didn't know any better really ended up in very sad situations that ended up costing them, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And in some cases, their business went close to zero, and they had to walk away from the business because they really didn't think enough about planning. And so my advice and thoughts for today is that you should really think about, if you don't know better and you haven't been down this path before. I know in my own situation, I'd had several exits in my career, but they're much smaller exits. If I made a decision, the decisions weren't catastrophic. But my last exit was fairly good sized, and I hadn't been down that road before. And at the time, I didn't know better. And I do know that if I would have been in a situation where I could have had surrounded myself with good advisors, I know for a fact, and if I had known and understood the process that would be followed when you have private equity and boards of directors and banks and people that are involved in the transaction to successfully exit a business like that, that the outcome would have been a lot better. And so my advice and counsel to you today, as you think about positioning your business for sale, if you haven't been down that road before, you probably don't know better. And if you don't know better, you're probably not going to do a lot better. So surround yourself with those people that have been down that road before and know a little bit more about the situation and how to position a business for sale and how to successfully exit, because you will have the opportunity to take advantage of, just like, as I mentioned earlier, Tom Brady or Tiger Woods or whomever, that you will be able to successfully get the type of information that you need to be able to do better. And if you know better and do better, you're going to successfully benefit from that knowledge of yourself and others. So this is Marvin L. Storm on the trail. Just consider what I've said today and think about it. And as you go through the process of positioning your business or thinking about positioning your business for sale, I want to wish you the best, and we'll see you on another episode of On the Trail in the future.